Acting Secretary Shirley, thank you for being here today with you and your members of your team. Look, I want to follow up on the gentlelady from Montgomery County's line of questioning. I appreciate the goal of giving a refund for poor service. It seems to me, though, this isn't doing anything to fix the actual problem. Why not set up your permitting system so that a entity seeking a permit is automatically granted a refund based on the submission date? Or even better yet, why not just grant approval of the entire permit if there is fault on the part of the department? Because here's what I have to tell you. No permit-seeking entity I have ever spoken to worried about the cost of that permit. So a refund, in many ways, it's just simply window dressing. It's a feel-good measure. Those permit-seeking entities, they want fast, reliable service, and they want their permits to be approved. They don't want excuses. They don't want to continue to have to jump through hoop after hoop after hoop after hoop. Your data indicates it's not working. 4 out of 2,400 says something's just not quite right with that. So I just want to leave that out there. I feel like that conversation had to be concluded. But what I really would like to talk to you about today is permitting reform. And during last year's budget hearings, Secretary Negrin assured us that he and the administration they were committed to a thorough evaluation of the department's permitting processes, and permitting reform was a top priority for the department and for the governor. So I'm going to ask you the exact same question that I asked Secretary Negrin, and that is, will you support codifying permitting, review, and transparency by helping us get Senate Bill 350 to the governor's desk? It's sitting in the House right now.
So I have not reviewed that bill. I'm not familiar with it. But what I will say is that it remains the department's top priority. Permitting does. Every single executive staff meeting, whatever meeting I have, it's always a discussion on permitting. It has been Ramez's pretty much sole focus of his being our acting executive deputy secretary, is looking at these permitting processes and figuring out where we can achieve these efficiencies. So
it's been a year.
What's that?
It's been a year. Mm-hmm. We heard the exact same thing last year. So aside from new staff and increased funding, what improvements has the department made to the permitting process?
So to clarify, that we've only had 4 overdue permits. The rest of those permits, the 2,400 and some, we acted on and approved, or it's called disposed. We've disposed of those permits within the time frame. So
the permitting backlog has been eliminated at DEP.
We have
for all 800 different permits that you issue.
So December 1st, we began our permitting backlog reduction plan. We began implementing it, where we asked our programs to reduce the permit backlog 10% month over month. We have authorized overtime for our staff. And I can say that between December 1st and the middle of February, we've eliminated the permitting backlog by 39%. So we are overachieving what we set our goals to be. I really think our folks are going to deliver well ahead of time to be able to eliminate that permit backlog. Like I said, we're using staff overtime. Staff overtime, though, is not sustainable. We don't want to burn our folks out. We don't want them to leave. So that's why
I'm worried about that, but I'm more worried about the fact that I have businesses walking out of Pennsylvania, and that's a big problem as well. So have the wait times been improved?
Yes. Not completely across the board, but I would say overall, yes. As Ramez said, we have 800 authorizations, 800 different permits. So we focused on our permits that are most used, which are our construction permits, our 102 and 105. So these are earth moving permits, or if you have to construct within a wetland area or a stream crossing, those are our Chapter 105 permits. We've been focusing on those because almost every project in Pennsylvania has to get a permit of that type of some sort.
So even with the 15 new employees that you received last year and the overtime that you're paying, you're only 30% in on fixing the backlog, and wait times have not significantly improved for people across Pennsylvania.
respond?
Sure. So the positions that we got through the budget went to mainly dam safety because we were way behind on inspecting high hazard dams, and also went to the air quality monitoring efforts that the department is doing.
You just said that the greatest backlog is in 102 and 105 moving permit. So it sounds like you've got a lot of work to do. And even with adequate resources, additional staffing, it's still a challenge. And this needs to
The
improve.
pilot
We need
program-
Senate Bill 350 through the House onto the governor's desk so that we can work together to address this, because this is the greatest impediment to economic growth in this Commonwealth. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.